you had progressed with your systematic review. So this is regarding how to write your systematic review report. So next I will go through referencing, reporting and publication of systematic reviews. So what is referencing in systematic reviews? So once you finish your systematic reviews, you have to cite all the sources that you have included in your review process. You have to document it appropriately. So citing studies included in the review as well as background literature. So you may not cite only the studies that you have included in the review, because you might use some of the study in the background, like you might cite some of the studies. So those studies also has to be cited in your systematic review. So following a consistent citation style often dictated by the journal or the institution. So always when you start writing your systematic review, what you can do is have a aim of the journal or look into the journal which you're going to submit it. So as and then when you're searching for their guidelines, you can start writing or formatting your manuscript based on the journal guidelines, instead of going back and struggling for the references. And also for the referencing, what you can do is you can take help of any softwares, free softwares that are already in the market for your references. So now we will see why this referencing will matter. So is it a very area of concern, or is it okay if I miss any of the references in my systematic review? So through referencing, it will ensure that transparency and traceability. Okay. So transparency is you are going to cite the work of the particular author where you have taken or they you have taken their idea, or whether you have utilized to cite in your systematic review. So suppose the reproducibility of the review. Suppose if you cite some other author in your systematic review, so that will help the author to trace and also increase the citation score of that particular author, and it will have benefit for them also. So always acknowledge original sources and avoid plagiarism. So if you try to reference the particular source that you have used, so the original source will be cited, right? And it also tries that shows that you have not plagiarized the content. Okay, because you state that this author has mentioned these things in their review paper or in the original paper, but don't take the exact words and write, so that it will lead to a plagiarism. So might be you can read those sentences and you can understand and modify it and write in your systematic review. So it will help readers verify and explore cited studies. Okay, so even the readers can go back and see the cited studies which you have cited in your systematic review, and they can also still explore their studies which you have cited. So next we will see which are the different types of references in systematic reviews. So you have primary studies, that are the studies which you have included in your systematic review. You have a background literature that can be like contextual and theoretical framework. It can be methodological sources, like you might follow any specific guidelines to conduct your systematic review. You can also cite book or the paper or the article which you have used to follow a particular methodology. So for systematic review, you also have to remember that Cochrane Handbook is a Bible for a systematic review, where you can see each and every steps of systematic review that is explained explicitly, and you will be able to understand how to go with your systematic review. Then there are several softwares and tools freely available. You can take help of them and do your citation, so that it will not be a difficult task in references. So next, referencing during key stages. So we have different types of stages in a systematic review. Suppose if you are going to develop your protocol, so you might use like guidelines. You will be using previous reviews or previous published papers. So these all areas has to be cited in your systematic review. then you might also go and search the literature, right? So you will take help of specific databases. You will read some of the articles where they have already developed some search strategies or the keywords those they had used in their systematic reviews, uh, or a narrative description. So you have to cite each and every areas where you had referred for your systematic review. So in study selection, so the studies which you had included or excluded can also be cited, because all the included studies, however, you're going to cite it. But there might be some excluded studies which were not so much suiting your inclusion criteria, so you had excluded. But sometimes those excluded studies will help you to write your discussion part or the introduction. So if you have taken help of those studies also can be cited. Then in data extraction, like what are the sources you had used to prepare your data extraction sheet, or else what data you had taken from like other studies, or what are the tools that you had used for a data extraction can be cited in your systematic review. Then synthesis and reporting. So try to cite what are the softwares you use for the data synthesis, or any articles that you refer, like how to go with the synthesis, or some of the tables, figures, like you will take help of some softwares, right? So that also can be cited in your systematic review. So next is referencing best practices. Like we have different types of citation style. Like it can be APA, Vancouver, or NLM, or different other styles. And also some journals, they have their own specific citation style. So these all you have to maintain a consistency in writing in your systematic review. Like somewhere you cannot follow Vancouver style, somewhere you cannot follow AMA style, because even the journal will mention like your citation has to be superscript, or whether it has to be kept in the bracket, or which bracket standard you have to follow. Those things you have to write from starting if you refer a journal which you are aiming to publish. So that time this issue will not be there. So maintain a reference management system, that is reference manager you can use like EndNote, Mendeley, or Zotero. Like Mendeley and Zotero are like freely available. Like you can download it from Google, where you can install in your laptop or desktop, and you can store your entire references in those free softwares. Because if you take help of this reference management system in the starting itself, when you write your manuscript, so it will be easy. Suppose if your article gets rejects, okay, so you have not followed this any softwares. So sometimes what happened, the journal which you had followed has a APA style, but it got rejected. Now you are going to search some other journal, so that journal has a Vancouver style. So you have to again sit back and make according to the Vancouver style, and it is very painful because we don't know whether that journal also will accept the manuscript. Suppose if that journal rejects, and again you have to go back for the APA style, but some content you had made change in your manuscript. So it is very difficult task to go back and do it one again. So that time what happens, the authors will also lose the interest, and their systematic review will just be pending without publication. So to avoid these all frustrations, what you can do is you always take help of the reference management, and you can directly change your reference style how you need. Just you have to change the command in the reference management. So always try to document the excluded studies with reasons, like why you have excluded those studies. You may not keep the excluded studies reasons of title abstracts, but you can keep a list of studies where you have excluded during the full text. Then cite all tools, databases, and frameworks that you have used in your systematic review. Then also try to include full bibliographic details in appendices or supplementary files. So which you find that will not fit in your manuscript can be moved into your supplementary files. So next we will just quickly see what are different types of reference styles. So we have APA style, which is currently most of the journals they follow. So here the format is you have to write your author name first, year, then title of the article, title of the journal, volume, issue, page range. Suppose if you are planning to do your references manually, keep these things in mind while going for the APA style. Next is the Vancouver style. So here you have to cite your authors, title of the article, journal name, year, volume, issues, and just a page number. So next is AMA style. So I'm just notifying the 11th edition. So here you have the author, title of the article, journal name, year, volume, issue, pages, as well as the DOI. So these will be complete with all those details that has been mentioned. So next is LML style, NLM style, that is author's title of the article, journal name, year, month, day, volume, issue, pages. So each style, reference style has a different way of writing their references. So next, just I will brush up you with different types of tools for managing references. So as I told, Zotero and Mendeley are the free available softwares which you can use. You can also go for the EndNote, which is like user friendly, and it is mainly used by the wider community, mainly for writing academic articles. You also have reference works that is mainly supported to export, and it is mainly will try to get the references through the help of PDFs. Then there is JobRef that offers options for over 15 reference formats. Like based on different formats, it will try to write for your systematic review. Then there is PaperPile that will allows you to add citations to Google Docs. It has a very smart and intuitive interface. So Crossref is a non-profit organization that makes research objects easy to find, cite, link, access, and reuse. So whichever you find easy, you can try to start practicing as then when you write your systematic review. Then there are few common referencing challenges. So sometimes what happens is there will be a duplicate records across databases. Okay, so if you're having might be only 20-30 reference, I think you can manage. What if you are having more than 70-80 or more than 100 references? How you are going to manage it? So sometimes it will be a painful task to remove the duplicates also, but sometimes but you can take help of the softwares, reference manager softwares, which will try to identify you which are the duplicate articles, and you can remove those articles while citing in your manuscript. Then sometimes there will be incomplete citation data, because when you're going to check for the articles, you will have only minimal information. Might be DOI is missing, or some issue, or page number is missing, or sometimes you have to add it manually, even in the reference manager also. So that will be a common challenge. Then managing large volumes of references. So as I told, like if you're having large number of references, it will be a very difficult task to do it manually also. Then keeping track of excluded studies. So along with those included studies, if you're having vast number, then to keep a track of those excluded studies is also a difficult task while doing a systematic review. So just the tips for accurate referencing, like what all you have to follow in your while doing your referencing. So export citations directly from databases. Okay. So in the previous class, you might have learned like how to download your studies from the database, right? So you have this something called as RIS files. Okay, so that those RIS files you can also import to any of the reference manager. So through that, to cite those articles, it will be a very easiest task while writing your systematic review. So regularly back up your reference library. Okay, so along with your reference management system, you can also have a list of your included studies along with references, might be separately in your Excel sheet, so that if there is any error in your reference management system, at least some backup will be there. So use tags or folders to organize by review stage. So as I told, like you can arrange and keep your folders separately for your systematic review references. so that you will not confuse or duplicate with your systematic review. So double check citations before submission. Okay, so always check your citation, because sometimes the journal the article that is published in the journal will have a different publication year, but the sometimes the reference manager will show a different year. Might be the article is accepted in 2015, might be it is published in 2016. Okay, so that time you have to always cross check with that article whether the year and citation is properly cited. So this is regarding the citation, as well as how you're going to manage your references in your systematic review. So shall I continue, or you need a 5 or 10 minutes of break? Okay, then I will continue. So next is reporting of systematic review. So once you finished all your systematic review, you did your reference management also. So now how you are going to report your systematic reviews. So the evidence from systematic reviews are the most trustworthy form of scientific evidence, as they are associated with high statistical power and precise results. So in the evidence pyramid, you had already seen systematic reviews lies in the topmost level of the level of evidence. So there are concerns over the overproduction and poor quality of systematic reviews, which has held to several international and multidisciplinary groups collaborating to develop guidelines. So earlier, what systematic reviews they were doing, there might be some error or some standard guidelines they had not followed. So for that, now you have a specific guidelines like what has to be reported in systematic reviews and how it has to be reported. So reporting of systematic reviews can be in any formats, like mainly you can also publish it in a form of report or a form of publication for your PhD thesis, or else it can also go as a journal publication or a conference paper. So next is importance of transparent reporting of systematic review. So why we have to report or follow a standard guidelines while doing a systematic reviews. So this will allow readers to evaluate the rigor of the methods applied and to interpret the findings appropriately. So a reader will able to understand what are the methods you had followed in systematic review and what techniques you had followed to interpret your findings. So it is always a transparency can facilitate attempts to verify or reproduce the results and make the review more usable for healthcare decision makers. So suppose if we use a proper guideline while doing a systematic review, so these results can be utilized by any policy makers. So it will guide people making decisions about healthcare, including healthcare professional, consumers, and policy makers. It will reduce uncertainties in assessments of risk of bias in the review findings. So to report the systematic reviews, the Cochrane collaboration introduced a handbook to guide the conduct and reporting of the systematic reviews. The quality of reporting meta-analysis, that is quorum guideline, was published in 1999, and later they came up with the Prospero registry. So this is the registry where you are going to register your systematic review protocol, your entire systematic review protocol based on what you're going to do. And if anyone wants to do a systematic review on on your same similar topic, they can go back to the Prospero and check whether the any systematic review is already published in my topic. So this is like transparency is there, so where you can go back and check. The publication of the preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis, that is called as PRISMA. So this guidelines was introduced in 2009. So there is something called as equator network. So it is a bundle of or what to say registry of guidelines where you can see a different guidelines not only for the systematic reviews, also there are guidelines for the original studies, like for the randomized control trials, what is the guideline you have to follow while conducting and reporting of the randomized control trial. Also for observational, cross-sectional, cohort studies, for each study designs the guideline is there. So as and then if the author follows those guidelines when they are conducting those studies, so if you are going to include those studies in a systematic review, so the quality of study also will be a good. So most of the researchers, they are not aware like this kind of guidelines is already available for even the original studies as well as for the systematic reviews. So you can go back to this equator network and see, and it has the 400 guidelines in the libraries collection. So this is how the equator network looks. So as I told, right side you can see there are different kinds of guidelines even for the systematic reviews and for the original studies. So next is reporting standards and structure. So as I told, always when you are going to do your systematic review, keep a word that is Prisma. This is like you have to follow while doing your systematic review as well as reporting your systematic review. So you can refer this Moher et al. 2009 article, which mainly describe how this Prisma was developed and what it contains and what is the uses of having this checklist. So this checklist is a useful guideline of content that should be reported and included in the final published version of your systematic review. In my next coming slides, I will talk in detail what is this Prisma checklist. So there is also a Prisma P checklist that is mainly a guideline that has to be followed when you develop your systematic review protocol. Okay, so you can develop your protocol based on that Prisma P checklist. So now we will see what is this Prisma, that is preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. So this is a guideline developed to address poor reporting of systematic reviews. So this guideline will have a what to say items. So you can see whether those items has been reported in your systematic review or not. So this is the evidence from observational studies suggests that use of Prisma 2009 statement is associated with more complete reporting of systematic reviews. So if you see a systematic reviews that are published after 2009, you can see that at least there is some standard methods in reporting the findings in the systematic reviews. So if you take older systematic reviews, you can see that there is no consistency in what they have reported and what the findings they are going to convey. So to ensure a systematic review is valuable to users, authors should prepare a transparent, complete and accurate account of why the review was done, what they did and what they found. So if you go back and read this page at all 2021 study, so it will mainly discuss on like what is Prisma, like how it has to report it and what all you have to keep in mind while you do your systematic review. So now at present, there is a new checklist that is Prisma 2020 checklist, and this is a 27 item checklist. Right from the abstract, the results, discussion, funding will be explicitly described in this checklist, and you have to follow the items in the checklist while you write your systematic review. So this checklist is mainly used for the reporting of the systematic review, and there is also a Prisma flow diagram. Okay, so this is mainly used to see the how the study selection process was there, like how many studies you included in your databases, how many duplicates you removed, how many studies you seen in your title abstract, how many studies you included in your full text, how many you included, excluded, then final what was the number you had included in your systematic review. So these all like freely accessible and it is already available in the Prisma, you can directly go to the Google and write Prisma 2020 checklist or Prisma 2020 flow diagram. So you will get a template. Okay, already a Word template is there, so you can download it, and you can just add your and write your content. Like try to fill the numbers as and then when you start doing your systematic review search. So this is a Prisma 2020 checklist which I was talking about. So as I told, it has a list of 27 items. So right from starting, that is from title, abstract, or methods, or results, discussion, each areas has been described in detail, like what you have to write in those areas. So looking at the title, so it is mentioning as identify the report as a systematic review. So that is what I had discussed in my previous slide. Like when you write in a title in a systematic review, always make sure that you will mention it as a systematic review. So here in this checklist, you can see that location where item is reported. So that means you have to write the page number where you have mentioned in the title that this review is a systematic review. So next comes the abstract. For the abstract also, like what all items you have to include in the abstract. There is a separate checklist for the Prisma 2020 abstract. You can follow that and you can structure your abstract based on that checklist. But sometimes what happens is the journal itself will have their own word limits as well as their own structure. So that is okay. You can modify, but try to see that the areas or the items in the Prisma abstract checklist has been covered in your abstract. Next comes the rationale. So here they have mentioned that describe a rationale for the review in the context of existing knowledge. So this has to be reported in your introduction. As well as you have to also mention the objectives, like provide an explicit statement of the objective or questions the review addresses. Next comes the method. So here in the methods, they have divided different sections. Like first is eligibility criteria. So specify the inclusion-exclusion criteria for the review and how studies were grouped for the synthesis. So you have to mention the page number where you have described the inclusion and exclusion criteria in your systematic review. Next is information sources, like what all databases you had used, registers, websites, organizations, or whether you also went back and checked the reference list of the articles, of those articles which you had selected. If yes, you mention the page number. Okay, and also you should have these you can also write your methods based on these headings itself. Okay, so that there is no any missing of the data from your systematic review. So next is selection process. Like you have to describe the methods, like what are selection methods used, what are the automation tools that you had used in your systematic review. So these all areas you have to write in the selection process, as well as mention the page number where you have reported in your manuscript. Next is data collection process, like how did you collect the data, how many reviewers were there, how you did your data extraction, any automation tools were used. Okay, this has to be reported. Next is data items, like what all the data you had included, whether you had went for the like quantitative data analysis, or whether you had just described a narrative form, and if there was any funding. So those areas can be written in your data items. Next is risk of bias assessment. As you know that we have to write like what are the data quality assessment was done, what are tools you had used, what are the automation tools you had used. That also can be reported in your systematic review, and mention the location where it is available in your systematic review. Then similarly, effective measures or the synthesis methods what you had used to handle your data, and if there was any missing data, how you had managed, that has to be reported in a systematic review, and mention the page number. Okay, do not leave any areas. Suppose if you find that any of these areas is not relevant for your systematic review, in that case you can mention it as a not included or not applicable for your your systematic review. So this is the same thing what I had discussed. So next comes the discussion. Here also you have to mention like what are the interpretation of your results, what was their limitations, what are the implications you are going to say and convey for the future research. That also you have to write the page number where you have reported. So also you have to report other information like registration and protocol, like provide registration information for the review, including register name and registration number. So you can mention your registration number in your manuscript and mention the page number. Then indicate where the review protocol can be accessed or state that a protocol was not prepared. Suppose if you publish your systematic review protocol, you can mention where it can be accessed. That has to be mentioned in a systematic review and provide the page number here where you have reported in your systematic review. Describe and explain any amendments to information provided at registration or in the protocol. So support, like if you receive any funding or financial support for your review, then competing interest, like whether there was any competing interest, then availability of the data, like suppose you have prepared your data extraction sheet, right? That entire data extraction sheet, like you may not submit for the journal, but the data is available with you. So in that case, you can mention like the data related to the review is with the author, or whether you are going to share, that you have to mention. Okay. So this is one of the example which I will just show you, like how you are going to fill your data. Okay, so just the page number you have to write, like which page number you have reported those findings. So as and then, like study selection, you might have a, what to say, a Prisma flow diagram. Okay, so here you will not include in manuscript, because sometimes the journals will ask to submit it in a separate format, like figures has to be kept like JPJ or PNG format. So that time you can just mention it is like a included in figure 1. Then study characteristics. Suppose if you are excluding the word counts of that journal, and study characteristics of your review, you want to include it in a supplementary or in the table file, so that you can mention it is available in the supplementary file and it is a table too. Then risk of bias within studies, you can mention where it is there, like supplementary files, those things. Okay. So next I will just walk in through the Prisma flow diagram. That is mainly a flow diagram where it will try to map out the number of records that is identified, included and excluded in your review, and the reasons for exclusion. So this is how the Prisma flow diagram looks. This is a Prisma flow diagram if you are including only databases and registers in your systematic review. Like databases might be like PubMed, CINAHL, Embase, Web of Science, like based on your institutional access, like how many databases you are having access. So here you can mention records identified from the databases. Like here altogether you can add from numbers from all the databases and you can write it here. Then along with giving a number, next below this line you can mention like from PubMed how many you got, from Embase how many you got, from CINAHL how many you got. Okay, so individually also you can write. Then registers, like if you had referred any clinical trial registers or any studies you wanted to see from any other registers relevant to your subject area, so that can be mentioned here separately. So if you don't have any registers, you can remove this, you can just include databases if you have included only databases. Then records removed before screening, that is before screening studies, you have to remove the duplicate records from the your review. Okay, so after removing duplicates only you will start the title, abstract and full text screening. So here you have to mention records marked as ineligible by automation tools. Like suppose the what to say, like if you are using Ryan, if it shows like this study is not relevant, or it will be shown as ineligible, so in that case, you can mention the numbers, how many studies it indicated. Then records removed for other reasons, like if you find that this study was like, might be you have imported some wrong study. So that time, if you have excluded, you can also write the number of this. If these two areas is not applicable, then you can remove those areas and you can only keep duplicates records removed, and what is the number that you have removed from your uh, study, I mean your screening software. Next is record screen. So after removing duplicates, how many studies you are having for the title, abstract, then how many studies you have excluded. Okay, those number. Then report sort for retrieval. That is how many studies you are going to include in your full text screening, and reports not retrieved. That is because we have a, like suppose you have the 50 studies for full text screening, but sometimes might be 10 studies you are not having access for the full text. Okay, so that case, in that case you can give here the number of full text which you are not having access. Then reports assessed for eligibility, that is the final studies how many you are going to assess for the full text. And here you have to provide the reasons for the exclusion of the studies after reading the full text. Here in the template they have mentioned as reason 1, reason 2 and reason 3. What you can do is you can write like exact reason, like in your Ryan class you might have seen, like you have the different reason option in Ryan software itself. So there you can mention like a wrong outcome, wrong design, or wrong publication type, or wrong intervention. Okay, so you can write the exact reason for what you had excluded those studies. Next is studies included in the review. Okay, so how many studies you have included? Suppose if you are including only reports in your study, you can also mention it as a reports included for the your systematic review. So this is one of the example which you can just quickly go through. So as I told, you can write the number of databases, total number, then also you can split and write from each databases how many studies you have got. And if you are not registering, referring any registers, either you can remove, or else you can also mention as not applicable. See here, reports excluded. Here you can see they have mentioned as wrong study design, wrong outcomes, or protocol paper. So these are the main reasons for what the studies were excluded. So this is one more Prisma flow diagram. If you are including databases, registers, as well as other sources, like along with database, you are going to search studies to the help of websites, or any specific organizations, or citation search, or reference search, references of those articles which you have included in your systematic review. So in that case, you can go for this bigger version of the Prisma flow diagram. So left side remains the same as I had discussed. Okay. So you have this databases register, then all other things like removing duplicates, screening, exclusion, those things remain same. So here this area will be the additional thing, that is identification of studies via other methods. So here if you have used websites, you mention like how many studies you got from the websites or organization or citation search, then how many you're going to check for the accessible, like to check for the eligibility criteria, then how many you were not having like appropriate access, or might be you could see it as only like a conference paper or very short article, so you did not retrieve it. Okay, then next is reports assessed for eligibility, like how many you're going to check final for the proper eligibility, and how many you are going to exclude. So here anyway, this arrow mark will mainly focus you on studies included in the review, and this side, right side, this will be like reports assessed for the eligibility, and here you can mention it separately how many reports you had included in your systematic review. So this is one of the example which you can go through. So here they had used only reference list of the search of the articles. So you will be reporting a separate inclusion of the studies, that is 94, and final studies how many you have included can be reported as a separate. So next is identification of the studies. Sorry, this is similar I feel. Yeah. Okay. So you have to decide your Prisma flow diagram appropriately based on your literature search. Okay. And also you can design this Prisma flow diagram in the Ryan itself, because even in the Ryan you have an option of downloading this Prisma flow diagram. But make sure you are doing you are screening properly. Okay. Suppose if you miss any of those articles in your inclusion or exclusion, it will give a count, but sometimes it won't match your included studies. So what we suggest is try to manually fill instead of completely depending on the Ryan Prisma, because sometimes even the journals they will ask, like already there is a template, right? So try to fit your Prisma in your that template. So sometimes even Ryan Prisma flow diagram the journals will not support. Okay, and suppose if you are going to prepare your coping review protocol, you can take help of Prisma P checklist, which mainly intensively focus on the protocol, like what all areas you have to focus, and you have to mention, like in my previous slide, I had shown you like how the Prisma 2020 checklist looks. So similar way, a Prisma B checklist looks, and you have to fill all the adequate page numbers that is reported in a systematic review. There are also Prisma extensions. If you just go through the Prisma websites, or else you can also go back to this study conducted by Kolaski. So in their paper, they have mentioned like which are different types of Prisma tools. Like you have Prisma for systematic review, Prisma for protocols, Prisma for network meta-analysis. Even if you have Prisma for diagnostic test accuracy, Prisma for scoping reviews, or different kinds of literature searches. Even for literature search reporting, there is a Prisma checklist which you can refer. Then there is also a press checklist for search strategies. Like you want to see how your search strategies, whether it is reported in a proper way, whether your search strategy is complete, or whether you have followed all the techniques that has to be followed in your search. So this is how the press checklist looks. So it has a different areas like translation of the research question, how you have used your Boolean operators, what are the subject headings you have written, what are the text word searching you have followed, whether there was any spelling, syntax, or line numbers, or what are the filters you have applied. So when we look at the research question, it will try to ask you like, did your research question and search strategy match? What are your pico elements that you have used, whether your concepts are too narrow or too broad, because you know based on your research question you are going to formulate your key search terms, right? So these key search terms mainly will help you to try to find out the studies. So you have like mesh keywords and author keywords, or you can also get keywords from the published studies. Okay, so these all will be decided as well as evaluated based on this checklist. And you also have these Boolean operators like and, or, not. So your study results also will depend on this. Like if you use and, it will try to narrow your search. If you're using or, it will try to broaden your search. So you have to use it appropriately. So this is how the checklist will try to evaluate. So there are also like subject headings, like you have like one major heading. So under those things you have like subheadings or sub keywords. So that also has to be kept in mind. So you might also have like what to say like free text or text word searching. So how you have you utilize this text word while conducting your search, whether it was like too broad, too narrow, or how did you choose it, or due to your so much limitations, whether you missed or any of your studies, then how did you use your syntax, like whether there was any syntax error, because each database has their own syntax like asterisk, question mark. So that has to be utilized appropriately based on the databases. Then what are the limits and filters you have used? So whether you have used this appropriately based on your research question, whether because of those filters you missed any of the studies. So after you develop your search strategy, it is better you try to evaluate your search strategy with the help of this checklist, press checklist. You can give it to any of the subject expert, or also you can take help of librarian because they know how to conduct search also. So you can ask to evaluate your search because before it is too late, because some students they come to us for the consultation. So what they do is they come it at a later stage once they finish their like review. So it is very late to what to say, to correct them, because they don't have much time to focus for their review, like they don't have time to restart their review. So in that case, it will be a difficult task. So always try to include a subject expert or the persons those who already have conducted systematic reviews in right from starting in your team, so that they will help you to guide in each and every steps of your systematic review. Specifically in the search area, take help of those expert people. So checklist for transparent reporting of systematic reviews. As I already told, you have different kinds of Prisma. There is also a robust checklist where you want to see the assess of risk of bias assessment. There is also a press checklist, AMSTAR checklist, which you can go back and read. So next is a publication of a systematic review. So once you finish with your complete systematic review along with this Prisma checklist, you have to publish your systematic review, right? So preparing for publication. So always try to finalize manuscript using Prisma guidelines. So while writing a Prisma, your manuscript, try to follow the Prisma guidelines, the each aspects of the Prisma guidelines, as well as the journal guidelines while structuring a manuscript. Include structured abstract methodology, results, discussions, and limitations. Attach Prisma flow diagram as and checklist in your submission. Ensure all references are accurate and formatted correctly, so that there is no any what to say, like once you upload, then there will be initial check in the journal also. So they will send you back if you have not followed like appropriate guidelines what they had mentioned in their journal guidelines. Also format your references. Then choosing the right journal. So this is what to say, it is might be a difficult task, because some students they come to us and they say, ma'am, say like which journal you are suggesting, which is like appropriate journal. So first thing comes is which journal you are having accessible for your institution. Okay, so always try to publish in a journal where there is a scope for your topic. Okay, choose that journal. Choose the audience, like which audience you are going to convey your research findings, and also check for the impact factor. Okay, because we have a quartile system like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So those quartile system is also important for the impact factor. So check if the journal accepts protocols, updates, or living reviews. Okay, so don't be in a hurry to publish. So first check the journal guidelines, like whether it accepts systematic reviews, or if you're going to publish your systematic review protocols, because all journals will not accept the systematic review protocols. There are some journals like BMC systematic reviews. There are like Methods X journal. There is JMIR protocols. So some journals only will accept the systematic review protocol. So stick into that way which you want to publish. Review open access options and publication phase. Okay, so always try to publish your article in an open access journal. That means once it is accepted and formatted based on the guidelines, it will be openly accessed for the readers. Okay, so then only there is a high chance for you to get a citation. Okay, so if someone wants to read your article and it is only available as a abstract, then the citation chance will go down. Okay, so if you want to focus on that, check for the open access. And also journals will ask you like whether you want to go for a subscription publication, or else you want to go for the open access. Okay, because some journals they have a what to say, if you select the subscription, even they will have a open access. So you can also wait up to when that next subscription will happen for that journal. Then key considerations for publications. So always try to register your protocol. So as I told, always try to register your protocol in the Prospero database before starting. And you can wait to register in systematic in this Prospero I think you can wait up to your full text screening. Okay, because Prospero suggests that you should not start data extraction. Okay, so at least up to title screening or full text screening, you can wait. Then you can register your protocol in the Prospero database. Because what happens is, once just you had made a plan for systematic review, but in the protocol you had written like, okay, these are the things we'll be following in your systematic review. But sometimes, as and then, when you do a search and when you start with the screening, will you have to deviate because you're not getting adequate studies. Okay, so if you register your protocol too early, that time then you have to send an amendment. There is no this thing issues if you like publish it prior, but you have to give the amendment. So instead of that, wait up to you finish your title abstract, then you can slowly start registering your protocol. So disclose conflict of interest and funding sources. Then use standardized tools for bias assessment. Like as I told, if you're including this randomized control trials or non-randomized control trials, you can take help of Cochrane risk of bias tool. Then always try to address heterogeneity and limitations transparently. Be open, like why there was heterogeneity in your study, then what are the limitations in your systematic review. Okay, write in such a way that you will not write one or two para limitations itself. Okay, write like two or three sentences maximum. What are the major limitations you could find you're conveying to the audience based on your systematic review. Then include implications for practice, policy, and future research. So from your systematic review, what you're going to convey the audience, like how it can be practiced, what policies changes can be done, and what future research you are conveying will play a major role. Because if any student or any researcher wants to do a original kind of research, they will definitely go back to your systematic review and they will try to see what is lacking in the present literature and what was suggested in any of the systematic reviews. So now, if your systematic review is accepted, so what comes next? Okay, so first thing is, it is a great news to get a paper accepted. So promote via academic networks and social media. Okay, you can post it in the LinkedIn, you can post it in your social media, communicate through your institutional websites. Okay, because this will help you to visibility of your articles. Okay, so that will also try to get more citations for your paper. So you can also upload it in a Google Scholar. You can have a Google Scholar account where you can track your list of articles that you publish. You can also deposit in institutional repositories or preprint servers. Okay, because sometimes now once you upload for like good journals, okay, they have tie up with Research Square. So once you submit to the journal, they Research Square will track your progress of your reviews. So if it is accepted, it will try to publicize your paper in a broader audience. Okay, and some journals they have a tie-up with already a social media. So when you upload, you will get a option like whether you want to publicize your article. If it is accepted, then they will ask you to submit your social media handles. So it is okay, you can give it. Sometimes from journal itself, they will promote to the social media. Then track citations and almetrics to measure impact. That's what. Try to publicize it more so that your citations will be increased. Consider writing a plain language summary for broader audience. So this is what some journals they are asking, like graphical abstract has to be submitted or a small executive summary what you are going to convey from your systematic review. So this all like what to say, trying to attract the audience as well as the policy makers. Okay, so no one wants to read your complete 7,000, 8,000 words systematic review and all. So they just want to see like a image or a short abstract. So that will be much more benefit instead of going back and reading a longer article. Then I want to share a few of the tips for successful publication. So always try to collaborate with experienced co-authors. So always please make sure that if you want to do a systematic review, always have a team of reviewers where you should have a experienced person who has done the systematic review. You have to have a subject expert who is very knowledgeable on your topic. You can have one statistician in your team. You can also include a librarian in your team, okay, or else include a colleague who has accessible for the maximum databases, or else they can help you in conducting search. So use reference management tools like as I discussed in my previous slides. So consider pre-submission peer review or editing services. Okay, always try to language edit your article for the proper English, as well as some journals they have their own editing services. You can also opt for that. Like if your study or review is funded, then respond thoroughly to reviewer comments. Okay, sometimes what happens is nowadays what we see is most of the comments will be like AI generated. Okay, so it is very difficult whether the reviewer has given the comment or AI has given the comment. Okay, so in that case, don't be so harsh, because sometimes what happens is that comment what is given, no, that is not relevant for the your review, or you find like okay that is not relevant for this area which they have focused. So in that case, it's okay, no issue. You be patient and try to address those comments in a polite way. And I always appreciate the reviewer for spending their time to review your article. So how many? Sometimes it is not like only once you will get a reviewer comments. Sometimes up to the reviewer is satisfied, they will keep on giving the comments back to the author. So be patient and try to include all their corrections what they have given. Then promote your published review. As I discussed, you can present in any of the conferences or in your colleges, institutions, and try to promote it in a social media. So always try to present it before your article is published. Okay, so that will help the reader to reach to your article. So if your article is already published and or already if the audience has read your paper, they may not have that much interest to listen to your presentation also. So this is regarding my today's class on like how to go with your data synthesis, how to write your review, what are the reporting guidelines you have to follow while doing a systematic review, and some tips for publication of your systematic review. So thank you very much for your patience listening. So are there any questions? Okay, I'm just going through the chat box. Okay, so if an author could not retrieve full text, it is injustice to the study, right? In that case, whether abstract is considered. Okay, so yeah, getting a full text is very important, because sometimes, as I told, if that study is published in the journal where they don't have open access. Okay, so in that case, what you can do is you can try to reach to your friends where they have access to this full text, because your institution may not have access to all the databases or the journals if it is not subscribed by the institution. So you can reach back to your colleagues and try to get those articles. But still, if they are also not having access, you can write to the author and see whether you're getting any response. But sometimes, if the author has used their working email address and if they have changed their job, so in that case, you will not get response also. So might be 1 or 2 weeks, you can just wait and see if that article is very relevant for your systematic review. In the discussion section, do we need to compare my results with the published systematic reviews, or can I compare it with the cross-sectional study that is not a systematic or meta-analysis? Yeah, good question. So if you are trying to discuss your findings with other findings, right? So first of all, you should not do a systematic review if already a systematic review is done on your topic. So now how you will compare the your discussion? So you can take a particular study which one particular results you find you want to discuss, or like you it is like positive results. So that finding you can take from a study, so that can be compared with any other similar studies. Okay, because it is not mandatory that you have to compare with any other reviews, because there will not be a review on your topic, right? So you can discuss any findings from your study which you had included, and that finding you can compare with any other study which you are in, which you might have included or may not have included. Okay, so that you can compare with any other original studies. What can you do regarding publication done but not registered? Okay, nothing can be done. But most of the journals, they prefer, they ask like you have to register your protocol. So if you have protocol, if you have not registered, means like someone can repeat. Okay, so to be transparent, it is better to register your protocol. Yes, like if you're having access to only limited databases, that is fine, no problem. But that's what you can also include your team members, like you can collaborate with others, those who are having access to more databases. Okay, so which databases you are having access, you can search, and you can take help of others to search for the other databases which they are having access. There is no harm in going with three databases also. Fine. Okay. There are any other doubts? Or any other areas you want me to discuss in any part of the systematic review? Plan for publication, I think I have already discussed, like what all tips you have to keep in mind, how to go for the publication. Yeah, that's what most of the institutions they have access, and some institutes they will subscribe for some of the journals. So through that also you can go through the articles, you can find those articles. Okay. Any other doubts? You want me to show any reference manager like Mendeley software? Sorry, I'm using only Mendeley or Zotero. So I'll just show the Mendeley, I think. Yes. Okay. Just a minute. I'll share my screen. Quickly, I'll just discuss. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So, to get a Mendeley reference manager, you can just type in Google and it is freely downloadable. You can download any of the versions that suits your computer. So, this is how the reference manager will look. So you have to sign in. Okay, you have to create your account through your email ID. So once you create your account, you can open this reference manager. So here you have a option of like add references. Okay, so once you install, So you can click over here. So here you can see the different options like import files and import folders, import library, then set a washed folder, then add reference manually. So here if you have a like always make sure that this reference manager will support RIS files, okay, that is reference information system file, like similar file which you get downloaded from the databases. So even from databases like PubMed or Embase which you select, no, so the RIS files also directly can be imported here. Okay, so either import it directly from your computer. Okay, if you have saved anywhere in your computer, you can upload that RIS file. Then also you can import the folder, direct a folder also you can directly import from your computer if you have saved. Then you can import library. Okay, so here, just a minute. Okay, so to import this from library, that is if you want to import it from any of the reference library. So what you can do is there is a web supporter, okay, web supporter for Mendeley. Okay, so that you can install. Okay, that can be installed and kept in your Chrome. So suppose if I want to import now study directly from the online version. Okay, so now if I'm just searching in Google that I want prevalence of diabetes study. Okay, so it will show that this study is there in the PubMed. Okay, so what if I install the web importer of Mendeley? So here it will get installed in the extensions. Okay, so here you can see that Mendeley has been added to the extension. So now this study I will open, and this study I want to import in my Mendeley reference manager. So anyway, extension is there, right? I will just click on here and I will click here, Mendeley extension. Just a minute, it is loading. So now here it will show studies on my title. So you can select which is relevant. So I want the same study, the prevalence of diabetes in India. So I will check the title and I will check the author name. Okay, so it is showing first one as a tick. Then give it as a add. Okay, so now I will go back to my reference and I will see whether that study has come. Okay, I can see that study is not imported. 1 second. Okay, so it will ask me to sign in, and I can see that the study has been added to the concerned email ID which I will be logging in. So here, like this way you can add the study. Suppose now I want this second study. Okay, so I will select this and I will click on add. Yeah, see, the study has been added now. Files now. Similarly, I will go to the other study like IDF by David R. I will give as add. See, the David R study is added. So like this, you can directly add from the web importer. Okay, for that you have to download your web importer along with the Mendeley software. So this is from the web, and the other things I showed you. Like if you are having already the RIS file, you can import it from your desktop with the folders. Okay, so and then there is like duplicates. Okay, suppose if there are any duplicate articles, it will show in a blue dotted lines. So in this now I can see there is no any this thing. Okay, but it is showing this set contains two duplicates of the same reference. Okay, so here it shows like
Excuse
two
me, ma'am.
articles there.
Ma'am, the screen's not changing actually. So we're not
Is it?
able. Yes, ma'am. It's just still on the Menly Reference Manager page. So we can't see the exact process that you're doing.
Oh, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one second. Then I will share it once again.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Okay, whether you were able to see how I imported study from the website?
No, ma'am. You were not able to see that.
Okay, okay, then I will repeat once
Yes.
again. Yeah,
Thank
suppose now this study is there. Okay, so this study, you can see my slide, right? Screen, right?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Yeah. Okay, so now this study, if you want to import it for your reference manager, okay, so after importing the web downloader, it will get imported in your extensions. Okay, so click on this like Mendeley web importer. So this study will be downloaded in your web importer here in this list. So similarly, if you have some more title, like now I will select from here itself. Otherwise, you can give some more title here in the PubMed and you can select here and you can give it like add. Okay, so these studies will be directly imported in your reference manager. Okay, now if I go to like all references, see like which all studies I selected, it directly came to this reference manager. So now if I want to see like duplicate study is there or what, so I will click on duplicates and it will show like now two duplicates are there. Okay, so you can remove this, like there is the option for actions. Keep this reference only, move reference to trash. So what you can do is you can just open the study and you can see like which are the like most included areas, like whether all datas are there. So it depends on you which you want to keep. Okay, so like that you can decide and keep either one. So now I will say move reference to trash. I don't want that. So only one will be kept. Okay, so like that, as I told here in the add references, you can add from the your desktop if you are having the RIS files, then you can also add reference manually. Okay, suppose if you feel like I want to add reference manually, you can write here reference type, whether it is the article you want to cite, it is a like journal article, whether it is a magazine, whether a newspaper article, you can select and add that manually. Uh, So author names you can add journal, year, volume, month, date, abstract. Okay. Now if you want to search the article, that is identifiers. Okay. So it is asking whether you can add like DOI, you can also add ISBN number, you can also import to PMID number. So now this anyway, this PubMed article is open. So screen is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Okay. So I will copy the PMID ID and I will add it here and give as a search. So it will automatically add all those sections like title, authors. Then if you find like any author is missing, you can also add here. That option is also there. If any details are missing, you can manually add here. That is also okay. So then click as add entry. Okay, so that study will be added here. Okay, so now how to like after adding, like how to add in your manuscript, right? Just give me a minute. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. So now this is the manuscript where you want to cite your references. Okay. So now suppose here you want to add the references. Okay. So anyway, the Mendeley will be directly supporting your word. Okay. So here click on like Mendeley site. So it will show you all the articles that you have imported in your Mendeley. Okay, list of all the articles will be shown. So now I want to cite this Anjana article into that like second line. So I will, you have to keep your cursor there where you want to cite. Like after dot, you keep your cursor, click on like insert citation. See, this citation has come now. Okay, so you have also option of citations settings here. You can also change the citation style. They have like Vancouver style you can keep. Now update my citation. See, it changed to Vancouver style. Easy, right? Otherwise, you have to sit and do manually. Similarly, now I want to cite here somewhere. Okay, so I want to cite one more study here. So go here, go to references. I want to cite now the second study. So click on the study, insert citation. Since I have selected Vancouver style, it came to Vancouver style. Okay, so now here I want to change it to APA style. Change citation style. Go for the 1 second. Okay, APA. I will update my citation. See, you can directly update over here. So always while doing your writing your review manuscript, as and then you try to do it with the help of this software. It is easy, and you can also, if you're not able to understand, just refer YouTube videos. It is clearly explained over in their videos. Also, you can try it. Might be once or twice. It might be difficult for you if you have not used. But once you get used to it, this will be a easiest task. Is that okay? Okay, I'm just going through the chat. Can you show how to download all articles from PubMed and Scopus for use in Ryan software? Okay. Or is there a time organizer to just show how to download the article?
Ma'am, the session gets over at 9 actually, but I think maybe if we have time, we can.
Okay, okay. Then I will just show you like how to download the articles in the database. So go to your PubMed. Okay, so you can go to like advanced search. In detail, I won't show you because I think it is already shown. Like just I will show you how to download the articles. Okay, so now if I want to check the studies on diabetes. Okay, so now I want to keep it for title abstract, and I will go for and I will search. Okay, then I want to see diabetes in children.
Ma'am, your screen's not visible.
Not visible. 1 minute.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Okay. So go to your advanced search while doing a search in the PubMed. So here you can type it as like if I'm interested in diabetes. So I will keep it as title abstract. I will search for and search. So now I want to see diabetes in children. Okay. I want to keep it as a text word. Search. I want to see diabetes in children, right? So I will combine these two and search. So I got 28,930 studies. So then I will apply all the filters, like I want studies from past, from 2010. Then I want to custom range. Okay, so these all things you can apply based on your area of interest. Now I want to download the file from the PubMed database. So just click on send to citation manager. Here it will give an option of three, like select all results. That means it will try to get the results of all, like 17,000 studies, all studies, then create file. Okay. So a NBIB format will be downloaded in your downloads. Okay. So that you can download, and that you can, this file you can import into a Ryan database. Okay. So if you want me to show how to import for Ryan database, or this is enough. Okay. So you you have you have to create your Ryan database account, software account. Then sign in through your email ID which you have given. So here you can select like create new review. Then you give your review title like diabetes. Then review type if it is a systematic review. Then review domain as like whichever you want to select. I will select as other. And you can write a short description of your review. Okay, so now it will ask you to import. Now here there is an option for select files. So click on here. Since I have it in my downloads, I'll just open it here. Continue. Okay. So it shows like uploading in progress. Since there was 17,000 studies, it will take some time to upload. Okay, I will give a skip. It will get down imported anyway. Then you can accelerate. You can invite your team members. Okay. So this also I want to skip. I don't want to invite now. So now you imported only one database articles. Okay. So now if you want to import few more, so there is like add references option. Same screen will come up. So now like only PubMed is imported. It will give an option like select more. So now you select like you other your RIS files and you can import it here. So all your imported studies will be still it's loading. Okay, so it will be shown in your Ryan database, like how many you have imported. Is that okay? Okay. Approved or rejected manuscript. That's what. If research square, if you give an option for uploading, the research square will mention whether this article is accepted or rejected. Otherwise, nowhere it will be mentioned like whether your article is accepted or rejected. Okay, might be Chandra. What you can do is you can try to look your search keywords, like okay, what keywords you had used. Might be minimal keywords you had used. So for that, you did not get maximum studies. Rework on that, and it might be also due to the filters and all what you had applied. So that very minimal studies were there during your screening. So also it might be due to your topic. If your topic is very novel, um, less studies might be there. So if still these all areas are clear, and if still if you're not able to check for the studies, you can take help of like Google Scholar or your subject specific websites, journals. You go through it, okay, and check from gray literature whether you are able to get those studies. Okay, if you're finding, you include that, or else you can keep your study for the global level also. So you can choose the multiple options which is feasible. Okay, so Akash, what you can do is the uh, which file you had imported to the Ryan, because some files will not be supported by Ryan. Okay, it will show a list of options like which all it will support, but it will support only RIS files and the NBIB format. Okay, so what you can do is you can also download the RIS files in your Mendeley. You can add all the references to the Mendeley from the database, and from Mendeley you save it as a RIS file. Then you try to import it to your Ryan database. I think that time it might support. Yeah, Google Scholar can be used, but it will not act as a database. Okay, so it can be taken as a gray literature. Yes, it is not so much preferable, but there is no wrong in using Google Scholar. Okay, only doing a review of Google Scholar depends, but you can do additional search along with your databases. Yeah, newspaper information is considered as a gray literature. Yes. Okay, so I think the time is exceeding. So if you have any doubts, you can write to me to my email ID. You can note my email ID, matthias.edlin@manipal.edu. So if you still have any doubts, I can clarify, give you queries, so I can answer them through my email ID. Okay.
Thank you
Okay,
so
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Edlin, for taking us step by step through the publication process and making it so clear and practical. And with that, we officially bring our systematic review and meta analysis writing 4-day course to a close. A heartfelt thank you to all our speakers, Dr. Divya Susena Patel, Mr. Eliston Anburaj, and Dr. Edlin Glane Mathias for generously sharing their time, knowledge, and expertise with us. I'd also like to thank the organizing committee at Kasturba Medical College, Manipal, and of course, our participants for your energy, curiosity, and engagement over these 4 days. Before we sign off, just a quick reminder, the course assessment will be based on your submitted presentations, and certificates will be awarded to those who have successfully completed the course. On that note, I wish you all the very best in your future research journeys. Thank you all once again and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much, ma'am.